Hi Danish learner, welcome back to my channel, Danish Matters. I'm Tina Bakker, your Danish friend and tutor. Today I'm talking about the words vedkommende and men. They're both gender neutral words and we don't really have that many of those in the Danish language normally. Normally we wouldn't really think about our words being gendered. We have in and it, the articles for our nouns, and they aren't female or masculine. We call it fælleskøn for en and intet køn for it. And actually that's sort of like common gender and no gender. So we don't really think of our words as masculine or feminine, but they are kind of gendered anyway because we use in and it. There is a difference between using in and it for our nouns, right? So that's the case with the Danish language, but we have very few gender neutral words, that is, in the use of them, not because they don't have an in or it, because they all have that. There's one though, men doesn't really have a in it because it's more like a pronoun, but I'll get back to that. One word that we use gender neutrally is kæreste. Kæreste means your boy or girlfriend, your partner, that is, if you're not married. So that can make a kind of a misunderstanding sometimes, because normally, the norm is that I would expect a man to have a female partner and a woman to have a male partner. But of course, that's not always the case. And I have been in situations where people have been talking about their kæreste, and eventually I heard, oh, they're the same gender as this person I'm speaking to. Didn't know. Because they can hide it for a little while, but it would become pretty awkward if they kept saying min kæreste siger, or min kæreste blah blah blah, or min kæreste. Eventually they would have to say han or hun, or if they're non-binary, we would in Danish say de or dem. Yeah, we would use de dem pronouns. In English, it's sort of the same. We can translate them directly. They, them. Yeah, so that's what we do in Danish. But kæreste is gender neutral when we use it. That is, it is en kæreste, so it is used with the fælleskøn article, but we don't see it as either male or female. It's used for all genders, actually. So that you can use in all contexts for whatever gender your partner has if you're not married. If you're married, we would normally say min mand or min kone, so my husband is just called the same as a man. Kone is the same as wife, yeah? Not just like woman. Kvinde would be woman, yeah? Mand, kone, husband, wife. And I hear that a lot of people today, especially internationally, they would go min partner. It's also gender neutral, right? We don't know the gender of this partner, just like in English, my partner, we don't know, yeah? You can use that as well, min partner. So that could both be that you're married or that you're not married. So even an even broader word, you could say. But then there is this word vedkommende. Vedkommende in this context means a person, an individual that you don't know the gender of. So, for example, I could talk to someone on the phone and maybe they have a name and a voice, so that I can't really recognize which gender they have. And if I want to talk to someone about this phone conversation, I could say, vedkommende sagde. I could also just go, han, hun, sagde, she, he. We could actually do that in Danish as well. But vedkommende, that's just one word, yeah? Maybe a little bit easier, but also a little more formal, maybe even a little bit old-fashioned. But you could say, vedkommende sagde. And also, if you don't want to mention the gender of someone, or you just don't know, like I mentioned, you don't know the gender of someone, you could say vedkommende. But also when you refer to someone, so say I have a friend who tells me, min læge siger, at jeg skal træne. My doctor says that I should train, that I should do exercise. I could say, men når vedkommende siger det, er det nok en god idé. When this person vedkommende is saying that, then probably it's a good idea. Når vedkommende siger det, det nok en god idé. When this individual says that, then probably it's a good idea. That way I'm referring back to this person and I don't know the gender of this doctor. So I could say it like that. A lot of people, I think, would tend to say hen, although there are a lot of female doctors in Denmark, actually. So you could definitely also expect a female doctor, and you could definitely expect people to say hun. But if you don't know, if you want to refer like that, you could say vedkommende. So that's how we use it. Vedkommende for a gender-neutral person. That is, we don't know the gender of the person. We don't want to say the gender of the person. I mean, some people are still in the closet. Yeah, they don't want to come out yet, but maybe you know about it. So you could just say vedkommende or personen sometimes also. Another aspect or another meaning of this word vedkommende is that something is has to do with something. I could say, det vedkommer ikke mig. That's none of my business. Or, det er meget vedkommende, meaning that's very relevant, very important. That's also a way of using vedkommende. Yeah? And that's the nice way of saying this. Det vedkommer ikke mig, det vedkommer ikke dig. You could definitely say it to someone else. Det vedkommer ikke dig. It's of course meant the same way as in English. This is none of your business. Of course, there's a kind of a tension here. If you say it, you will have a tension rising. Yeah, if you say this. But still, it's in our language. You could use it. Yeah. Det vedkommer ikke dig, det vedkommer ikke mig. Det er ikke vedkommende, det vedkommer ikke os. Det er meget vedkommende. Yeah, it's very important. It's very relevant. But a gender-neutral word when it's about people. Yeah. Then there is the word men. And I have put this word in this video because that's also kind of gender-neutral because we use it that way. So, when we use men, it's like one in English. And I know that in English you don't really use one that much. We use men more in Danish than you would use one in English, or that one would use one in English. So I could say, for example, man må ikke gå over gaden, når der er rødt. You're not allowed to cross the street when there's a red light. Man må ikke gå over gaden, når der er rødt. Men, meaning everybody. But it's actually, if you conjugate, I mean, I know our verbs, of course I know, you know also, that our verbs aren't conjugated, right? That's one of the easy parts of the Danish language. But as I usually say, I have other struggles for you. Yeah, when I teach beginners Danish, people get so happy. And because we don't conjugate our verbs, but they got another thing coming, right? You know that. So it's in the third person singular. So we would say han, hun, den, det, and you could actually add men. Because it's one person, it could also be other people. I mean, it refers to everyone, but everyone in English, what kind of verb would you put after that? You would say is, yeah? You wouldn't say are. Everyone is, everyone are, no. It's the same here. We kind of think of it as one person, kind of, because it's in this third person singular form, but it really applies to everyone. It's kind of a law kind of word. Children, in what we call, or like daily talk, we would say politimand-alderen, or du er en politimand. Like, that's children when they're around 5-6 years old, maybe even younger. They would be in this age where they are very obsessed with what you're allowed to do and what you are not allowed to do. Also because they're kids, a lot of things they aren't allowed to do, right? So they would say, man må ikke, du må ikke, jeg måtte ikke, I wasn't allowed to. Yeah. Må in Danish we would use a lot for permission. Må jeg få en is? Can I have an ice cream? Yeah. So we would say, man må ikke. One is not allowed to. You are not allowed to. That's how we use men. Much more than English, right? I think we got it from German, Mann in German, yeah. But that's also gender neutral. It could be all genders, and it could be singular and kind of plural because it applies to everyone and has a lot to do with permission and the law in some sense. Yes, difficult words sometimes to get into your Danish vocabulary. Try and use it. Try and write little phrases. Try them out in real life. Try them out on Danish people. See how they react back to you. Yeah, which reaction do you get? That was it for today. I hope you got something out of this video. Please like and subscribe. And if you want to support my work, you can do that by going to Buy Me a Coffee. There's a link for that in the comments. It would be greatly appreciated because that means that I can keep on keeping on making videos. And if you would like a Danish course with me, you can write to tina@danishmatters.dk. Thank you so much for watching, and all I got left to say is happy Danish learning.